Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck.
I'm not surprised.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the MMA Corner. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking to you guys about this upcoming UFC fight night where Brandon McLovin Moreno takes on Steve Michael Scott Erceg. Nah, I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. Today, in today's video, I'm gonna be talking to you guys about Brandon, the Assassin Baby Moreno, taking on Steve Erceg. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below who you guys have winning this fight. So with that being said, let's jump straight into the video. Maybe I should do a Spanish introduction since this fight will be in Mexico. Bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. En este episodio les voy a platicar sobre la pelea de Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. No, I'm just kidding, guys. So this video will be done in English. So we have Brandon Moreno, who is coming off a win and 2 losses. His 2 losses were against Alexander Pantoja and Brandon Royval, and his most recent win was against I just blanked out. Amir Abazi, I think that was his name. And then Steve Erceg is coming off a loss against Kai Kara-France, and then I think before that it was a loss against Pantoja, if I'm correct. I can't exactly remember, but yeah, guys. So let me tell you guys a little bit about Brandon Moreno and his last fight. So I think in his last fight, Brandon Moreno looked very good. He looked very crisp. He looked like he was really dialed in, and he looked like he was, you know, just very calculated and very focused in his last fight against Amir Abazi. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. But yeah, anyways, so Brandon Moreno looked really good coming off, 2 prior losses. And now I'm just excited to see Brandon Moreno back in the octagon, and I'm excited to see what he brings next. And now Steve Erceg, he came into the UFC and I think got maybe 2 wins, and then he was granted a title shot against Alexander Pantoja, where I believe he went the distance with Pantoja, and he actually held his own against Pantoja. But then after that, he was finished quickly, I think in the very first round against Kai Kara-France. So Steve Erceg is coming off a loss, and Brandon Moreno is coming off a win. Now I think that if Brandon Moreno comes in the same way when he went against Abazi, I think that Brandon Moreno might be able to bring Steve Erceg into his fight, into the way he wants him to fight, and I think he might be able to catch him like that. If he, because the way I saw Brandon Moreno in his last fight, I just felt that he was very, like I said, he was very calculated, he was very crisp, he was very patient, and he was just, he was just dialed in. He just made a very good performance in his last fight. So I think if he comes back into this fight that way, I think he might overwhelm Steve Erceg, and I think Steve Erceg might get a little desperate if he falls into Brandon Moreno's game, and I think that's when Brandon Moreno may capitalize. Now, since Steve Erceg is coming off a loss, and if he's not trying to get caught up the way he did against Kai Kara-France, I think Steve Erceg might be a little more reserved, and then it might just be like a chess game. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like they're both gonna be patient, and they're gonna be trying to counter each other. And this fight, if it kind of goes that way, I think it may be it may not be the banger of a fight that it could possibly be. And it's not because they're boring fighters or anything like that. I think it's just because they're gonna respect each other in their fighting styles, and then and how dangerous they are. And I think they're just gonna try to be very calculated and not get into a dogfight. That's one way I see this fight going. But then again, like I said, another way I see this fight going is Brandon Moreno going in the same way that he went against Amir Albazi, and he might how you say, he might not overwhelm Erceg, but make him desperate. Maybe Erceg might get desperate that he might not be landing the shots on Brandon Moreno that he might want. You know what I mean? So, and then that might get him to get desperate and sloppy, and then that's when Brandon Moreno might find an opening, and counter and really put some damage on Steve Erceg. But then again, like I said, Steve Erceg, can also be reserved and be more calculated and more tactical, and then it's just gonna be like a chess match. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna try to counter each other, and it might not be the banger of a fight that we think it could be. So those are just some of the things or ways that I see this fight could go. And like I said, they're fighting in Mexico. I do think that the card will be a banger of a card. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these Mexican fighters, they go all out and they go out there to perform, and it's either get a knockout or get knocked out. And that's how I see the whole card. And I hope that this main event brings that level that we expect from this card. So my prediction for this fight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not counting out Steve Erceg at all, because he's very well, even though in his last performance things didn't go his way. I know that he's a good fighter, but honestly, after Brandon Moreno's loss against Brandon Royval, I think Brandon Moreno came back stronger and better. And just based on his last performance, I saw a difference in Brandon Moreno. And if he just comes out that same way, I think Brandon Moreno can get a win over against Steve Erceg. Not only because of that, but because just Brandon Moreno has that championship experience. He's gone to wars, and I think his experience overall might just be too much for Steve Erceg, who hasn't gone through the wars that Brandon Moreno has. And then again, it's in Mexico, and I gotta root for my brother Brandon Moreno. So for this fight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to go with Brandon, the assassin baby Moreno. But I won't be surprised if Steve Erceg shows something different, but I really don't see that happening. Like I said, there's two ways I see this fight going, and it's they play this little chess match. They try to counter each other, and they make this fight not that much of a banger. Or like I said, Brandon Moreno comes in like the way he did his last fight. He makes Steve Erceg get a little desperate, makes him get a little sloppy, and boom, that's when he goes in and catches him. So that's how I see this fight going, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys think about this fight in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.